The Hound of the Baskervilles, 1902. Episode 6. Tracking the Night Howling. Welcome back, fellow detectives. Holmes has revealed himself, emerging from his hiding place on the moor just as danger closes in on Sir Henry. Watson has glimpsed something monstrous through the fog, a massive black shape with glowing eyes pursuing their friend through the deadly marshland. But was it real? Or has the legend of the Baskerville curse finally driven even rational men to see demons in the darkness? Have you ever questioned your own senses after witnessing something impossible? Prepare yourself as Holmes refuses to believe in supernatural explanations, even when the evidence of a demon hound seems undeniable, and as the hunt for the truth becomes a race against time and terror. Picture yourself on the fog-shrouded moor as Holmes and Watson rush toward Sir Henry's distant calls. The howling has stopped, replaced by an eerie silence that's somehow worse. Watson's heart pounds as he remembers that glimpse of something massive and black moving through the mist, those glowing eyes that seem to burn with hellfire. "Holmes!" Watson gasps as they run. "I saw it, the hound. It was enormous, with eyes that glowed in the darkness. How can you still deny the supernatural?" But Holmes's face is set with grim determination. "I deny nothing except conclusions without evidence. What you saw, Watson, I will explain. But first we must reach Sir Henry before that creature does." They find Sir Henry standing frozen near a granite outcrop, his face white with terror. He's staring at something in the fog ahead, his hands trembling. "Did you see it?" he whispers. "Did you see that thing?" Holmes reaches him first. "Sir Henry, what exactly did you see?" "A hound," Sir Henry's voice shakes. "But no natural hound. It was huge, the size of a small lion, and its eyes— God help me, Holmes. Its eyes were glowing. Green fire, like coals from hell. It looked at me, and I understood why Uncle Charles's heart gave out. I felt my own heart nearly stop from pure terror." Think about this moment, detective. Sir Henry, a practical farmer who dismissed the curse as superstition, has now seen something that shattered his rational worldview. When a skeptic becomes a believer, what does that tell us about what they witnessed? Holmes examines the ground carefully despite the fog. The creature left tracks. Here, you can see them. Large paw prints exactly as Dr. Mortimer described finding beside Sir Charles's body. Watson kneels to look. The prints are indeed massive, far larger than any dog breed he knows. But Holmes is studying them with his magnifying glass, his expression thoughtful rather than frightened. "Interesting," Holmes murmurs. "These prints are deep. The creature is very heavy. But look at the spacing and gait pattern. This is no supernatural phantom, Watson. This is a physical animal, subject to the laws of nature and gravity. And if it's physical, it can be killed." They follow the tracks, but the fog is so thick that they lose the trail within 100 yards. The creature seems to have vanished into the mire. Holmes is frustrated but not discouraged. It's gone to ground somewhere. But now I know several crucial facts. The hound is real. It's been trained to hunt specific prey, and someone is controlling it. "Controlling it?" Sir Henry looks bewildered. "You mean someone is deliberately using this creature to kill the Baskervilles?" Holmes nods. "Precisely. This isn't a curse or a demon, Sir Henry. This is murder. Calculated, planned murder using an animal weapon. Someone has trained this hound to track and attack members of your family, and that someone lives nearby, close enough to deploy the creature when opportunity arises." They return to Baskerville Hall, where Holmes finally reveals his presence to the household. Barrymore is shocked. "Mr. Holmes, we had no idea you were on the moor. If we'd known—" But Holmes cuts him off. "Which is exactly why I kept my presence secret. I needed to observe everyone's natural behavior without them knowing they were being watched." That evening, Holmes assembles everyone in the Great Hall: Sir Henry, Watson, Dr. Mortimer, and even the Barrymores. "I'm going to explain what's been happening," Holmes announces, "though I still need one crucial piece of evidence before I can make arrests. But you all deserve to understand the danger you're facing." Holmes begins his explanation. "Someone has been systematically planning to murder the Baskerville heirs and make their deaths appear to be the result of an ancient curse. They've used 3 tools: local superstition, a trained attack dog of unusual size, and careful positioning to ensure they control access to both Baskerville Hall and the deadly marshland around it. But who, Dr. Mortimer asks, who would benefit from killing the Baskervilles? Holmes's eyes narrow. That's what I've spent a week investigating. Follow the inheritance. If Sir Henry dies without heirs, who inherits? The answer leads us to our murderer. Can you work out the inheritance chain, Detective? If Sir Henry dies, who would claim the estate and fortune? And who among the moor's inhabitants has positioned themselves perfectly to both commit murder and benefit from it? Holmes continues. I've traced the financial connections. The Stapleton siblings are not who they claim to be. Jack Stapleton is actually Roger Baskerville, the son of Sir Charles's younger brother Roger, the black sheep of the family who fled to South America after embezzling funds. Roger Baskerville is next in line to inherit if Sir Henry dies. The revelation stuns everyone. Watson gasps. Stapleton is a Baskerville? But he never mentioned any family connection. Holmes nods. Because revealing his identity would have exposed his motive. He's been planning this for years, returning to England under an assumed name, buying property near Baskerville Hall, establishing himself as a harmless naturalist, all while breeding and training that massive hound. And Miss Stapleton? Watson asks, thinking of her warning to flee. Holmes's expression softens slightly. Beryl Stapleton, who isn't actually his sister but his wife, seems to have some conscience remaining. Her warning to you, Watson, was genuine. She knows what her husband is planning and wants to prevent more deaths, but she's trapped by fear, and perhaps by misguided loyalty. Sir Henry looks sick. So Stapleton has been planning to murder me all along, the friendly neighbor offering to guide me through the moor, mapping the safe paths. He was really mapping the ways to kill me. Holmes confirms. Exactly. He needed you to trust him completely. Then, on some foggy night when you were walking on the moor, he would release his trained hound, guide you subtly toward dangerous ground, and let nature and terror do the rest. The stolen boot, Watson suddenly realizes. That's how he trained the hound to track Sir Henry specifically. He gave the hound Sir Henry's scent from the boot so it would hunt him exclusively. Holmes smiles. Very good, Watson. The boot was essential. It allowed Stapleton to give his hound Sir Henry's scent so the creature would track only him and ignore everyone else. Dr. Mortimer looks troubled. But Mr. Holmes, I've seen Stapleton's dog. It's a spaniel, barely knee-high. Where is he keeping this massive hound? And how has no one in the area noticed it? Holmes responds. He keeps it in the heart of Grimpen Mire, where no one else dares to go. Stapleton has been mapping the safe paths through the mire for years, under the guise of naturalist studies. He knows routes through that deadly bog that no one else could find. The hound is housed in the center of the mire, in an old mining building that's completely isolated and inaccessible to anyone who doesn't know the secret paths. That's brilliant, Watson admits grudgingly, and terrifying. The most dangerous place on the moor becomes the perfect hiding spot because no one would dare search there. Holmes nods. Exactly. And when Stapleton needs to deploy his weapon, he simply follows his marked paths through the mire, releases the hound with Sir Henry's scent, and lets it hunt. If Sir Henry dies from heart failure like Sir Charles, so much the better. It reinforces the curse legend and deflects suspicion. Barrymore speaks up hesitantly. Mr. Holmes, what about the glowing eyes? My wife's brother Selden swears he saw the creature's eyes glowing in the dark like fire. How do you explain that? Holmes's smile becomes grim. Phosphorus. Stapleton has painted the hound's muzzle and eyes with phosphorescent paint. In darkness, it would appear to glow with hellish light, creating exactly the supernatural appearance he needs to terrify his victims to death. Think about the calculated cruelty of this plan, Detective. Stapleton isn't just killing for inheritance. He's terrorizing his victims first, ensuring they die in absolute terror, their minds broken by seeing what they believe is a demon from their family's cursed past. But we still need proof, Holmes says urgently. Everything I've told you is based on deduction and evidence I've gathered, but it won't hold up in court without the hound itself and direct evidence of Stapleton's involvement. That's why I need your help tonight, Sir Henry. You must be bait for one final trap. Sir Henry's jaw sets with determination. Tell me what to do. If we can end this tonight and bring Stapleton to justice, I'll risk anything. Holmes outlines his plan. Tonight, after dinner, you'll announce that you're walking to Merripit House to dine with the Stapletons, but you'll go alone, refusing all company. Stapleton will see this as his perfect opportunity, you walking across the moor in darkness, isolated and vulnerable. What he doesn't know, Holmes continues, is that Watson, Inspector Lestrade, whom I've summoned from London, and I will be following at a distance. When Stapleton releases his hound to attack you, we'll be ready. We'll shoot the creature, capture Stapleton, and finally end the curse of the Baskervilles by exposing it as an elaborate murder plot. But what if the hound reaches Sir Henry before you can stop it? Dr. Mortimer protests. That creature is massive and trained to kill. Sir Henry could die before you intervene. Holmes's face is grave. That's the risk. Sir Henry, you don't have to do this. We can find another way, though it might take weeks or months. Sir Henry doesn't hesitate. I'll do it. My uncle died in terror, and I won't let his killer continue threatening my family. Besides, I have faith in your shooting skills, Watson. You've never let Holmes down before. Watson checks his revolver, his face set with determination. And I won't start now. That evening, the plan proceeds. Sir Henry dines at Baskerville Hall with apparent normalcy, then announces he's walking to Merripit House for a late evening visit with the Stapletons. Barrymore protests, but Sir Henry insists, playing his role perfectly. It's barely 2 miles on a clear night. I know the path well enough now. Besides, I can't live my life afraid of shadows and old legends. Holmes, Watson, and Inspector Lestrade, a sturdy, practical man who seems skeptical of the entire supernatural angle, position themselves along the path between Baskerville Hall and Merripit House. They hide behind a granite outcrop that provides cover while allowing them to see the path clearly in the moonlight. Are you certain Stapleton will act tonight? Lestrade whispers. Holmes nods. I'm certain. I sent him a message earlier suggesting that Sir Henry is planning to return to London in 2 days. Stapleton knows this is his last good opportunity. He'll release the hound tonight. They wait in tense silence as Sir Henry walks along the path, whistling casually to maintain appearances. The night is clear and cold, with excellent visibility. Very different from the fog that covered the moor during Watson's earlier encounter with the creature. Then Watson hears it. A sound that makes his blood run cold. The deep, resonant howling that has haunted Baskerville Hall for months. But this time it's not distant. It's close and getting closer. The howling rises in pitch and volume, becoming a hunting call that speaks of ancient predatory hunger. Here it comes, Holmes whispers, raising his revolver. Wait for my signal. We need it clear of the mire before we shoot, or we'll never recover the body as evidence. They watch in horror as a massive shape emerges from the direction of Grimpen Mire, the hound, running at incredible speed directly toward Sir Henry. Can you imagine the terror of that moment, Detective? Sir Henry turns and sees the creature charging toward him, massive, black, with eyes and muzzle that glow with phosphorescent fire in the darkness. For a moment he freezes, just as his uncle must have frozen. Then survival instinct takes over and he runs. Now! Holmes shouts. All 3 men fire simultaneously. The hound is hit multiple times, but its momentum carries it forward. It leaps toward Sir Henry with jaws open wide enough to crush a man's skull. Sir Henry falls backward, and the creature lands on top of him. They rush forward, reloading as they run. Watson reaches Sir Henry first and finds the hound lying across him, dead, but so enormous and heavy that Sir Henry can barely breathe under its weight. They pull the massive body off, and Sir Henry gasps for air, his face white with shock but otherwise unharmed. In the moonlight, they examine the creature. It's a massive bloodhound mastiff cross, probably weighing close to 200 pounds. Its muzzle and eyes are indeed painted with glowing phosphorescent material. It's a terrifying sight, the stuff of nightmares made real. Good God, Lestrade breathes. I've never seen a dog so large. No wonder people thought it was supernatural. Holmes kneels beside the creature. Bred specifically for size and trained for hunting. This was Stapleton's murder weapon, as deadly as any gun and far more psychologically devastating. They look toward Merripit House, where lights are burning. Stapleton knows his plan has failed, Holmes says. He'll be attempting to escape. We must move quickly." They rush toward the house, but when they arrive, they find only Beryl Stapleton, bound and gagged, locked in an upstairs room. Watson frees her and she collapses, sobbing. "He's fled. He knew something was wrong when the hound didn't return. He tied me up to prevent me from warning you, then ran out onto the moor. He said he knew the safe paths and would escape through the mire to the train station on the far side." Holmes's face goes grim. The mire at night? Even he can't navigate that safely in darkness. "Come, we must try to follow." They attempt to track Stapleton across the treacherous bog, but the darkness and danger make it impossible. Holmes finds his marker posts, sticks that mark the safe path. But in one crucial spot, a marker has fallen. "He missed it," Holmes says quietly. In his panic and the darkness, he couldn't find his carefully marked path. He stepped into the mire. They hear it then, a terrible cry for help from somewhere ahead in the darkness, followed by the horrible sound of sucking mud. By the time they could safely reach the spot, there's nothing but a few bubbles on the surface of the bog. So tell me, detective, did Stapleton receive justice, or did he simply suffer the fate he'd been planning for others? And what about the hound itself, trained to kill, but ultimately just an animal following its master's commands? Where does blame lie in a crime like this? Back at Baskerville Hall, Holmes provides the final explanations to Sir Henry. "Stapleton came to England years ago, discovered Sir Charles had no direct heirs except you in Canada, and realized he could inherit everything if both of you died. He bought Merripit House, bred his attack dog, and waited for the perfect moment. When Sir Charles's health began failing, Stapleton struck. That mysterious letter Sir Charles received the night he died was from Beryl, begging for a secret meeting. Stapleton had convinced her to write it, claiming he needed Sir Charles's help with a family matter. Sir Charles went to the Moorgate expecting to meet a woman in distress. Instead, Stapleton released his hound. The shock killed Sir Charles before the creature even touched him." Sir Henry listens to the full story with growing anger. "And he would have done the same to me. The friendly neighbor offering to guide me on the moor, all while planning my death." Holmes nods. "He needed you to trust him completely. Then, one foggy night, you would have accidentally stepped into the mire while he guided you, or the hound would have frightened you to death as it did Sir Charles." Watson has one final question. What will happen to Beryl Stapleton? She was part of the conspiracy, even if she developed a conscience. Holmes considers. She was trapped by fear and by a husband who treated her more like property than a person. She tried to warn you, Watson. I think she suffered enough. The authorities may see it differently, but I'll testify that she ultimately helped us prevent further murders. The case ends with the curse of the Baskervilles finally explained and dispelled. Sir Henry can now live in his ancestral home without fear, though the memory of that glowing-eyed hound will haunt him for years. The legend survives, but its power is broken. Join me next time for our penultimate episode as we examine the evidence more closely, discover additional details about Stapleton's elaborate preparation, and witness Holmes's complete reconstruction of how the curse was manufactured from whole cloth to serve a murderer's ambition. Until then, remember, the most frightening monsters are often the ones that human minds create from ordinary elements: a large dog, some paint, and the willingness to kill for money.